their parents and guardians for having seen them this far. May I also take cognizance of the immense support accorded to us by various agencies during the exercise, both from the education sector and across other sectors. I urge all stakeholders to ensure that all processes related to the release of the results are carried out smoothly and every learner is able to get his or her results slip and certificates. Cabinet Secretary, sir, I take this opportunity to thank you for presiding over this occasion. At this juncture, allow me to invite the CEO of Teacher Service Commission, Madam Evelyn Mitei, to make her remarks, and thereafter I invite the PS, State Department of Basic Education. Madam Evelyn. Oh.
The Cabinet Secretary for Education, Honorable Julius Migos Ogamba, our Principal Secretary, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, the Chairperson of the Kenya National Examination Council, Professor Julius Nyabundi, my colleague CEO, NEC, fellow NEC Council members, senior officers from the Ministry of Education, the Teacher Service Commission, and NEC, members of press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a profound honor to join you this afternoon for the release of the 2025 Kenya Junior School Education Assessment results. Indeed, this is a landmark moment for us in this country. Mine is to extend the Commission's deepest gratitude to our teachers who prepared, supervised, invigilated, and marked the assessments. I also wish to appreciate the officers who oversaw curriculum supervision and coordinated the entire KJSEA process. Their dedication, professionalism, and resilience ensured that this national exercise was conducted with credibility and integrity. During this exercise, a total of 176,628 teachers supported the administration of KJSEA. 24,277 being center managers, 26,632 supervisors, and 125,719 invigilators. In addition to all teachers who participated in the stage-based assessments nationwide. Their unwavering commitment made this milestone possible, and we appreciate them. And on behalf of the Teacher Service Commission, I celebrate all our teachers for this commendable job. The success of KJSEA confirms the shift in the assessment landscape, moving us away from the previous one-off high-stakes examinations to a more holistic approach that values practical skills, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and continuous learning and growth. The transition demanded courage, adaptability, and strong learner-centered approach for our teachers, and I sincerely applaud them for embracing the competency-based education system and its assessment model. They have shown remarkable flexibility and innovative leadership, realigning instructional approaches, guiding learners, supporting projects, and preparing them for assessments that prioritize skills over memorization. Teachers are true champions of this reform and the backbone of the successful rollout of CBE and KJSEA, and we salute them. I wish to assure the country that our teachers are ready and prepared to receive the grade 10 learners in senior school. Retooling of teachers for senior school is ongoing, and once we complete, the teachers are ready to take up the learners that are transitioning to senior school. As I conclude, allow me to thank everyone again for participating in the 2025 KJSEA, the teachers, the parents, the officers, the multi-agency stakeholders, and all those who prepared our learners. They indeed shaped our nation. And with that, allow me to wish all of you a Merry Christmas, a prosperous New Year, and may God bless you. Allow me now to invite our Principal Secretary, Basic Education, Professor Ambassador Bitok, to make his remarks. Thank you.
Ready? Okay, our guest of honor today, Honorable Julius Migozo Gamba, the Cabinet Secretary for Education, and all protocols observed. My name is Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, PS for Basic Education. Allow me, Waziri, to begin by congratulating the class of 2025 KJSEA examinations. We say a big congratulations to the firstborn class of junior school in the competence-based education. We are really excited to be here this afternoon to release the first ever results for under the competence-based education. Allow me, Waziri, also to register my gratitude to Kenya National Examination Council, both the council, the staff, and all the stakeholders who were able to examine, be able to administer, be able to mark, and be able to ensure that today we are here to release these results. Indeed, we promised that on the 11th, we shall release the results. And today, we are here. So it is a promise made and a promise kept. Allow me also to thank you, Waziri, very especially for the leadership of the sector. I also want to thank His Excellency the President, Honorable William Samoei Ruto, for his leadership in this sector and the entire government. Allow me also to thank the TSC, the teachers, the Minister of Interior, Parliament, and all the stakeholders who have been able to support this very important process. Today, we are ready to transition 1.13 million learners from junior school to senior school, against a capacity of 1.5 million. So we are good. We are expecting 100% transition of all the students who have sat for their examinations, and the results are being released today. Allow me also, Waziri, to say that immediately after you announce the results, placement of these learners will begin in earnest to the 3 pathways. That is STEM, social sciences, and arts and sports. We are going to use a digital system to be able to place these students immediately. And we are confident that by next week, all our learners should be able to know which senior schools they have been placed. And they can actually check to confirm where they have been placed. And we are confident that before Christmas, everybody, every child, every parent will be able to know where their child has been placed. As with your guidance, Waziri, as a ministry, as you are aware already, and as you guided, we are planning to open senior school for the firstborn class on the 12th of January, 2026. I don't want to say more than that. I want to say that, Waziri, thank you again, once again, for the leadership in the sector. You have been able to bring all the stakeholders together. You have been able to show exceptional leadership. And allow me to join the KJSEA to wish all of us a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2026. At this juncture, it is my privilege and honor to invite our chief guest for today, Honorable Julius Migoso Ogamba, to officially unveil the results of the firstborn class of competence-based education. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you. Thank you, PS. Thank you very much. The Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, the Chairperson of the Kenya National Examinations Council, Professor Julius Nyabundi, the Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya National Examinations Council, Dr. David Njengere, the Chief Executive Officer of the Teachers Service Commission, Madam Evelyn Mitei, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, good afternoon. Good afternoon again. Let me first take the opportunity to thank all of you for making time to be here for the release of these results on behalf of the learners of Kenya. I'm honored to speak to you today as we mark the successful completion of the first cohort of the competency-based education learners from junior school. This is a milestone that ushers in significant transformation as we continue to progressively implement the competency-based education system. As you will recall, the government commenced the implementation of the competency-based education system in 2017. The CBE follows the structure of 2 years in pre-primary, 6 years in pre-primary school, and 3 years in junior school, and another 3 years in senior school. CBE is a transformative educational framework designed to equip our learners with the skills, values, and attitudes necessary to thrive in the 21st century. The Kenya Junior School Education Assessment is a key assessment tool at the end of junior school to evaluate learners' competencies and guide their transition to senior school. The assessment is a significant milestone in the implementation of the competency-based education. This assessment goes beyond what you know as traditional examinations. It focuses on identifying learners' strengths, aptitudes, and interests, ensuring that every child is placed in an environment where they can excel and realize their full potential. The purpose of KJSEA is threefold. Number one, it is to evaluate the learner's achievements of competencies acquired during junior school. Number two, it is to provide feedback for placement into senior school pathways, the STEM, the arts and sports science, and social sciences. And number three, it is to support progression and planning aligned with learners' strengths and interests. The KJSEA summative assessment consists of written papers and dry practicals or projects. Most subjects had a single paper, while languages, integrated science, and other subjects had 2 papers due to the composition, practical, or project components. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ministry of Education, I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation and gratitude to the officials from the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, the Ministry of ICT, the Teacher Service Commission, and other stakeholders who have played a vital role in the successful administration of this year's assessments and examinations. I wish to thank all center managers, the supervisors, and invigilators for upholding the integrity of our examination and assessment system. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to report that all the learners who registered and presented themselves for the 2025 KJSEA and key player assessments successfully sat the assessments despite a few challenges that were appropriately addressed by our field personnel. As you know, parts of our country experienced heavy rains and swollen rivers, which rendered some roads impassable. There was an unfortunate incident of a landslide in Elgeyo Marakwet, and these emergencies necessitated contingency measures to ensure that all candidates sat the examinations and assessments. Special arrangements were also made for a few hospitalized learners to sit the examinations and assessments. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are releasing the 2025 KJSEA results for 1,130,459 learners, all of whom will be placed in appropriate pathways at senior school to lay the foundation for the pursuit of careers of their choice. Of the 1,130,459 learners who sat the 2025 KJSEA, 578,630 were male, while 551,829 were female, representing 51.19% and 48.81% of the total learners, respectively. The counties that registered the highest number of learners for KJSEA were as follows: Nairobi, 71,022; Kakamega, 59,384; Nakuru, 54,028. 41 counties had a significant entry of more male than female candidates, while Mombasa County is the only county that achieved a gender parity of 50% proportion for male and female learners. The 5 counties of Isiolo, Nairobi, Samburu, Marsabit, and West Pokot had a significant entry of more female than male candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, the majority of the learners who sat for the 2025 KJSEA, that is 642,620 learners, which is 56.84%, were within the appropriate age range of 14 to 15 years. The number of underage learners, that is 13 years and below, stood at 35,270, which is 3.12%, while those aged 16 and 17 years were 415,059, making 36.71%. Learners aged over 18 years and above, these are adults, were 37,638, constituting 3.33% of the candidature. Kilifi County recorded the highest proportion of overage learners, that is, those aged 16 and above, at 64.90%, followed by Kwale at 64.78%, Garissa 63.38%, Taita Taveta 62.06%, and Mandera at 62.05%. Baringo County had the highest percentage of underage learners, that is learners aged 13 years and below, at 10.10%, followed by Bomet 7.56%, Marsabit 7.48%, Narok 7.28%, and Kericho 7.25%. Ladies and gentlemen, from the inception of the competency-based assessment, the reporting of learners' performance uses performance levels of exceeding expectation, meeting expectation, approaching expectation, and below expectation. The metric on grading at KJSEA has taken a similar approach, with each level being further divided into two, hence an 8-point scale. The reporting of performance of KJSEA has thus been done from point 1 to point 8, where point 8 is the best at exceeding expectation 1, and point 1 is the least at below expectation 2. The creation of these bands serves to distinguish exemplary performance from good performance. Ladies and gentlemen, out of the 12 subjects offered at KJSEA, 7 subjects recorded a higher proportion of learners performing at meeting expectations and exceeding expectations. These were Hindu religious education at 84.62%, integrated science 61.77%, social studies at 58.56%, creative arts and sports at 58.04%, Kiswahili at 57.98%, Christian religious education at 53.96%, and agriculture at 52.26%. 75% of learners performed at approaching expectation and above across all subjects. Creative arts and sports registered the strongest performance, with 96.84% of learners attaining approaching expectations and 2 above, followed by agriculture at 96.2%, Kiswahili at 93.11%, and social studies at 92.93%. An approaching expectation grade is sufficient for learners to progress to senior school pathways that require basic competencies in the subject areas. Female learners outperformed male learners in the proportion meeting and exceeding expectations in 10 subjects out of the 12 subjects. The widest gender gap was observed in Kiswahili at 64.86% versus 51.41%, followed by CRE at 59.77% versus 48.39%, English 52.86% versus 48.45%, and social studies at 62.98% versus 54.35%. Of concern, however, are mathematics and the Kenya Sign Language, which recorded 32.44% and 22.14% of the learners performing at meeting and exceeding expectation, respectively. Of the 1,130,459 candidates who sat for the 2025 KJSEA, 59.09% have demonstrated potential to pursue the STEM pathway at senior school. 46.52% have demonstrated capacity to pursue the social science pathway, and 48.73% the arts and sports pathway. Ladies and gentlemen, the next important step is a placement and transition of learners to senior school. Learners will be placed to senior schools based on their performance and selected pathways, in line with the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform. The assessment of learners at grade 9 comprised 20% from the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, 20% from the school-based assessment in grade 7 and 8, and 60% summative evaluation at grade 9. This summative evaluation is the KJSEA. As you already know, we clustered current schools based on the pathways that they will offer. This formed the basis of the selection of schools that learners and parents undertook earlier this year. As we speak today, the total capacity of the 9,540 senior schools is 2.2 million learners. A total of 929,262 learners will be exiting secondary school after the KJSEA this year. Senior schools will therefore have an extra classroom left by the fact that we'll only have 3 classes at this level. These classrooms are expected to provide extra space, enabling us to avoid overcrowding. We therefore have more than enough capacity to accommodate the learners whose results we are releasing today. The placement exercise will start next week and is expected to be completed by the 20th of December 2025. Grade 10 learners will be expected to report to their respective senior schools starting from the 12th of January 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, to foster access to basic education, the government will continue to provide capitation at the approved rate of 22,244 per learner per year in senior school. At the same time, we wish to emphasize, for the avoidance of doubt, that there has not been any revision of boarding fees or any other fees payable by learners in our schools. The prevailing guidance from the Ministry of Education on the amounts payable will continue to apply, as has been the case. Ladies and gentlemen, individual 2025 KJSEA assessment result will be accessed online through the link https://kjsea.nec.ac.ke. Learners will be required to enter their assessment number and any one of the names as per their registration data for the 2025 KJSEA assessment. The results will be accessible immediately after this function. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my humble duty and privilege to declare the 2025 KJSEA assessment results officially released. And I wish all the learners and their families success in their future endeavors. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you. Mungu awabariki. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much, CS, for presiding over that release. I will now kindly request if we can step here so that we ceremoniously hand over the results.
Yes.
I'll do that to my chairman, and then the chairman will hand it to the PS, and the PS will hand to you during the conveyance.
Thank you. There's a document in here that you'll be given just now. It has all the information that's required to answer all your questions that you might have relating to this exercise. So thank you very much for participating in this exercise. We appreciate it. If they have any questions we can take, any clarifications, we can do that. But even before you do that, we just want to say that what we're going to do is once the placement starts, because this is the very first time.
The mics, huh? Let's go back to the seat. They're requesting that.
Okay. So as we take our seats, I also want to announce that NEC has its call center open. The call center will be open 24 hours, and all candidates or parents who have any queries, please feel free to call the toll-free lines, and it is 0800 724 900 or 0800 721 410. So in case you have any query, please call that. It's a toll-free line, and there will be a NEC officer to answer your questions.
Thank you. Just as part of housekeeping, Waziri, we are requesting that we ask Waziri 3 questions. And let us stick to the agenda of the day, which is release of KJSEA 2025 examination. So I'm requesting that 3 different media stations listen, three persons, so that we don't have to repeat, so that we just ask questions, and let's be brief, kindly.
So I was just saying before you ask the questions that because this is the very first time we're going to do this placement, once the portal opens and the process is being done, we'll keep it open so that if there are any questions like we've indicated, any challenges that the students might come across or the parents, any parent or learner who might feel they've been placed in the wrong pathway or in the wrong school and wish to transfer or change, that space is available for the next 2 weeks. And even after they join in January, we will be able to keep it open so that we ensure that each and every question and every challenge is addressed, and each and every learner has been taken care of to their best interest and to their satisfaction. So we are here alive to the fact that this being the very first time, there could be hiccups here and there, but the teams that we've set up is available to attend to those challenges to the satisfaction of all the learners and their parents. Yes, please.
My name is Emily Chebet from SIGNET TV. The question I had is that this is the first time that we are interacting with this system. So are we expecting to see in their something like a transcript where the total marks, because remember now there's exceeding, meeting expectations and all this, will we have the percentages in their results indicating how they performed in terms of subjects?
It is actually more than a result slip. It is a report that shows the learning areas and what you got in those areas, and showing you where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, and what you can do to improve. And that is what has been going on from the assessment that has been going on from grade 1 all the way. For example, when they did primary KJSEA, that is the report, the comprehensive report that was given to the students, and another one given to the teachers, so that you are assisting the students as they are moving on, building on their strength and helping them achieve their best in the areas that they are studying. So it's going to be a comprehensive report. It is not just the formal result slip where you'll find maybe it's English is written, a number. It's more comprehensive than that. It's a much better report that encompasses quite a number of issues.
And also, I know there was some issues when it comes to subject combination. Is there a way of revising? For example, if a student or a child wants to do a certain course, but it's that particular subject combination that was bringing issues, and I know some parents raised it before. Is there a revision of subject combination as we head towards next year?
A revision of subject combinations. That's what I was saying, that in the next 2 weeks, when we are doing these placements, we are placing them to schools and placing them on pathways. Should they have those challenges, then would work based on the report that we have done and see what support the students can get. The learner, this is a learner-based assessment. The learner takes the first place in whatever decision that we are going to make.
Using the combination of the
the clustering of subjects. That's what makes it possible for them to move into specific pathways. And it's been a build-up. You know, as I said, the KJSEA, they had 20%, KJSEA, they have 20%, and the assessment that we've just done, 60%. So with that, it is possible to determine where is the strength of the child or the learner, so that the build-up helps them take what their competencies are and where their interests are. The difference between this system and all the other systems is this. Because we've been doing an assessment of the child and navigating through what they've been doing, you can't, for example, find a child who was doing so well in maths now ending up doing so badly. There could be now a question as what happened. Or where a child has not been doing too well, all of a sudden you find now this is an A student. So it helps to ensure that you are progressing in your area, and we remove those issues. That's why we have no issues of cheating, we have no issues of that, because you are built up. It's easy to determine where the competencies of this child is 360. Yeah? So that somebody, that's how you're able to say somebody just didn't come out and become all of a sudden an A student, and they have not been. So this building up means that your schooling adds value to your end results.
Thank you, guys. Last question.
What process they undergo to want to maybe change the placement of the student, and also with the KCPE, we had students who maybe felt they didn't do well and they want to repeat. In this case, do they have space to come back and do this assessment?
I almost said I don't want to answer that question because you said in KCP. We really need to move our minds away from KCP, but I will let I'll let the CEO explain that, because you know the challenge we're having also is the shift of the mindset. This thing started in 2017. By now we should be, weaning ourselves away from those, because it takes us back. We are really not able to see the importance and how good this system is. But he'll respond to that question.
Thank you, CS. I think CS has already responded to you. Thank you, CS. I think CS has responded to your question, because if we use our understanding of 844 to explain competency-based education, we will have a challenge. In the first place, in 844, when the child was leaving class 8 and therefore sat KCPE, and they were moving to secondary school in Form 1, all the learners were studying the same subjects in Form 1. And which means, therefore, all you needed, and they all sat the same subjects in KCPE, all you needed was a total score out of 500, and then place the learner in a national school which required 400 marks, or an extra county school which required 350, and so forth and so on. In the competency-based education, the child is moving to senior school to specialize in an area. Therefore, they don't need this aggregated score. What they need is to know, what is my strength in the subjects that I'm going to pursue in senior school. Now, the question about repeating. The child has sat for KJSEA in grade 6. They have been assessed in grade 7, an SBA. They were assessed in grade 8, an SBA. They were assessed again in grade 9. So I don't know why they would want to repeat when clearly there has been a track, a process of accumulating the ability of that child. And since the spirit of these reforms is to nurture every learner's potential, everyone has an opportunity in senior school to specialize in the area where they are good at. So I don't think it would be fair to keep the child again
in grade 9, and yet they had already demonstrated their abilities for over a long period of time. That would be my response to that. CS.
Thank you. And the PS has something to say. Maybe you can move on.
Thank you very much, Waziri, for that clarification. I needed to add a voice to the issue of placement, that as we may be aware, all the 1.13 students have been given an opportunity, starting from May this year, to select the 12 schools of choice. So selection has already been done. The next thing, after these results now have been released, is placement. We place the students to the schools that they have selected. And for us to be able to place these students equitably, we have adopted the CRA formula of revenue allocation to be able to distribute as fairly as possible students from across all counties in all the 4 categories of schools. That is Cluster 1 schools, Cluster 2 schools, Cluster 3 schools, and Cluster 4 schools. So that formula, as you are aware, takes care of the population, the size, poverty, and such other components. So that is the formula we have adopted, so that we are as fair as possible, so that a child from northern Kenya can be able to access or get an opportunity, same as a child in maybe western, to join a school in Nairobi or any part of the country. And our position is, by next week, all the students should have known where they have been placed, after which we shall have a 5 days window for revision if they want to revise, based on maybe changing preferences, consultations with parents and relatives and so on. We shall give them a room. We shall give them a room of 5 days to make revision, just like the way COOPS gives opportunity to university students to revise their choices. We shall give learners an opportunity to revise their choices based on the results that we have released today. So the process will be seamless. And we are hoping that by Christmas, every learner should know which senior school they are joining. And by 12th of January 2026, we expect all these learners to report to school. And our expectation is 100% transition. Every child will get an opportunity to move to the next level. Why are we saying so? We have 1.1 million learners against 1.5 million declared positions in senior school. So we have 400,000 extra spaces in senior school. So we don't expect any problem at all in terms of 100% transition. Thank you, Azir.
Thank you. The short answer to that is the school fees remains the same as it has always been. We have not changed it. No, there is no change. You know, the Alliance High School is still Alliance High School, whether we call it Category 1 or a national school. The fact that we've changed the name doesn't change the fees. The fees remains the same.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. For your permission, may I ask Ahmed Mutanga to say the final prayer as we depart?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Allah, we thank you for the journey that we have walked from the inception of the CBE system, this grand transition that we have witnessed today. We are thankful for your grace that you have enabled us to witness this day, where our learners in junior school will receive life-changing reports that will carve their futures as they transit to senior school. Ya Allah, we thank you and continue to pray for the leadership of the Ministry of Education, who have steered this system to the culmination of the release today.
and we ask you to continue to protect them and guide them and bestow upon them your wisdom. We make a special prayer for the young learners who are apprehensive as they await to see their results and the subsequent placements. Give them calmness of heart and mind to accept the outcome that will shape their futures. Ya Allah, bless this congregation and continue to bless and guide us in all our endeavors as we depart from this venue. Our humility in praying to you and our trusting in you is because you are all hearing and you hear and accept all sincere prayers. Allahumma amin.